Hello everybody, welcome to one more video for this channel, The Line of Epic Heroes. This time we are going to see a new build, the build for the month May. And this build is called God of War. Yes, this is the build that tries to be a God of War, which means this build is supposedly God of War Ares, because this is the true God of War. Don't give me that crap about Kratos and such stupid things. This is the real deal. We are creating the God of War in this game, Titan Quest, because it fits perfectly the theme of the God of War and this game, they are a perfect match. So, what do we have here? First, the reason why this build is called God of War, it is not just a name. This title was created because this build is going to use some of the items of God of War himself. There are some items in this game, epic and or legendary items, that have the Gods of War name on them, which is the Ares. This is the name of the God of War in Greek language, Ares. So, these items are not available for now. This character is level 40. He has defeated the normal difficulty level of the game. And we are going to see the setup, the skills this build is using, the God of War is using, and the items he is using. But the items, the most basic important items for this build, will be available to use after in the next difficulty actually of the game. So in the next video, which will be most important, more important than this first video, we will see the items of the God of War and the real form of the God of War built in Titan Quest. So, let's start with the skills. First, the skills, the masteries this build is using are the Defense Mastery and the Earth Mastery. So, this combination gives the class of Juggernaut, something like that. You see the name here, Ares. It is the name of the true God of War. So, the skills. First, in the Defense Mastery, I haven't maxed out the Defense Mastery yet. It was not needed in the first difficulty level, but in the next difficulty level, it will get maxed out for sure. The skills I'm using are the Rally skill. I have invested only one skill point here, and one skill point on the Inspiration add-on of this skill. This skill is getting used not so often, because it gives health restored and health regeneration for some time. In level 3 it gives 810 health restored for 13 seconds. This is the duration of the skill. And 150% health regeneration. Also it gives a bit armor. It is a small amount, but it helps. You cannot say that it does not help. It helps. The add-on Inspiration gives energy regeneration per second, which is not needed for this build. And total speed. I put only 1 point here. I am not going to put any more points here, at least for the next difficulty level. I don't think I'm going to need more points here. And I put only 1 point for the plus 10% total speed. When I activate the Rally, I also get 10% more speed. The next and more important skill for this build is the Battle Awareness. This is a defensive type of skill. It gives plus 170 defensive ability on level 11 out of 12 and 36 armor. It gives a good amount of defenses for this build, and it keeps this build alive. It is a very good survivability option. And also I have maxed out the skill Iron Will. It is the add-on of this skill. With this one, as you can see, we get 70% sleep resistance, stun resistance, reduced entrapment duration, which is very important for this build, the reduced freeze duration, skill disruption protection, and reduced mind control duration, pet trap only. Okay. So this is very important because we do not want to get trapped with this build. We want to be able to run around freely because we cast this skill here. I will show you later in a moment, and we have to be able to run around freely. So the traps is a bad thing for us to get entrapment. So this is a very big help also for the stunned sleep resistance. We need mobility with this build. And the next skill I'm using currently of this mastery is the armor handling. This is maxed out and on +1 level. Currently it is on level 7. With this one we get minus 22% strength requirement for armor and shields, and plus 18% armor absorption, which is a defensive type of skill, which is very important, very useful for this build. And we can use stronger armor and shields with this guy here. These are the skills for the normal difficulty level for this build. Now for the Earth Mastery, we have maxed out the Mastery, it is on level 32. The most important skills for this build of this Mastery are the Earth Enchantment. With this one, we activate this skill once and it remains always activated. And this one gives more fire and burn damage, more flat fire damage, and it has a meter radius, 13.2 meter radius on level 13 out of 12. This is maxed out and on +1 levels. This is very good because it boosts our damage very much. It doubles our fire damage actually, so it is very good. The burn damage is the dot type of the fire damage, the dot version, which means it is the damage over time. Now we use also the add-on. This is a very good add-on, the Brimstone, which on level 9 out of 8 it is maxed out on +1 levels. It gives +23% physical damage, which is very nice, and 115 burn damage over 3 seconds, the dot damage. And we use the stone skin. This will get maxed out for sure, but for now we have put only 2 points here, and with this skill we get armor, some armor and some fire resistance. This is a very nice defensive skill. This will get maxed out for sure in the second difficulty of the game. The next skill I'm using, I have invested only 1 skill point here. It is the stone form, and this is only for survivability. Sometimes in case you are going to die and you have no potions to use to stay alive, you can use this skill. You gain a stone form, and for some duration, a small duration of 6 seconds, you gain 100% damage absorption, which means you gain immunity to all damage, and you gain +17 health regeneration per second. I'm going to invest more points to this skill because in the future it will be more useful than it was in the first difficulty level. But in the first difficulty level I used it a couple of times only, it was not necessary. So this is why I have only 1 point. And the next much important skill for this build, the last one for now, is the Flame Surge. With this one, on level 6 out of 12, we release 5 projectiles. They get a chance 85% to pass through enemies. They deal 23 to 34 fire damage, and also 20% reduced defensive ability for 3 seconds against the monsters. This is a very nice skill, and we have maxed out the barrage, or barrage, I'm not sure. It is on level +1, 9 level out of 8. And this one it also has 85% chance to pass through enemies. It deals up to 230 burn damage over 3 seconds, which is very powerful. And also it gives minus 51% energy cost. But the most important thing about this add-on is the seconds recharge. As you can see, this, when we invest points here, the recharge time of this skill goes down. So currently we gain minus 4.1 seconds recharge from this skill, and the recharge time goes down to 0.5 seconds. So this one helps also with casting this skill very often. The cooldown of this skill is almost reduced almost to 0, so we can use this skill very often. As you can see now, I'm using the skill. Just look at here. Have a second, and if we keep the mouse button down, it is very quickly. So this skill is very important if you want to be using this one. This one is very important and very powerful. And also I'm using this add-on, the Flame March, which increases the damage and number of flame jets created by Flame Surge. This one. This is currently on level 5 out of 12. It really gives 2 projectiles. They deal 10 to 16 fire damage, and they have 5% chance of 1 second of fear. This one will get maxed out in the future as well, so this one will get maxed out in the future as well. So for now, for this build, those are the skills. They are not too many skills, but they do the job. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skills. This is the basic weapon attack of the game. No skills here. Now, let's go and see the items. The items that you see here are the items I used to defeat the last boss and to complete the game in the normal difficulty. Let's start with the artifact. The artifact is the Earthen Talisman. This one is a lesser artifact. It is very good for this build because it gives burn damage over 3 seconds. It is a dot type of damage. It also gives more fire damage, plus 10%, and plus 10% burn damage, which is the dot damage again. It gives armor, points, poison resistance, and some defensive ability. Also, the completion bonus gives lightning resistance, which is very nice. This artifact is very good for this build because this build needs both armor and of course fire damage and dot damage over time, more damage to the damage over time of the burn damage. Now the amulet I'm using is the legendary amulet of Hygeia. This one is very good. It is a defensive type of amulet. It gives more armor protection, very useful for this build. Also it gives some pierce resistance, bleeding, elemental poison, life leech, energy leech, stun resistances, skill disruption protection, and some health points, and a very good amount of health regeneration. Very nice amulet for survivability reasons. The boots I'm using are the Adept's leggings, good boots for the normal difficulty, very nice boots. This is a set item, it belongs to the set Adept's Regalia, and as you can see I have equipped 2 items of this set, so I get plus 120 health and energy points. with 2 items of this set equipped. This one gives poison resistance, more intelligence points, energy regeneration, more energy, plus 27% movement speed, which is very useful. This build needs movement and attack speed, or casting speed, not attack speed. Casting speed is much more useful than attack speed with this build. And of course, the very good thing of this item is that it gives minus 20% intelligence requirement for all weapons and armor. This one helps with equipping more powerful items dependent on intelligence. The other item of this set that we have equipped is the Adept's Clasp, which gives 6% chance of reduced resistance for 3 seconds. It gives intelligence points, health regeneration, 30% attack speed, which is awesome, plus 51% casting speed, which is amazing and very useful, and minus 24% recharge, which helps very much with this skill, as we saw a minute ago. The recharge is almost near to 0.5 seconds, and this one helps. So these two items are very nice for this build, at least for the normal difficulty level. The other set items I'm using are the Pyromancer's Robe. A good item, a set item, of course. It belongs to the set Pyromancer's Guard, which consists of 3 items, this set. Currently I have equipped 2 of those items. It is the chest armor and the helm. Now for the chest armor, it gives fire resistance, intelligence points, plus 2 to the skill Ring of Flame, which we are not using, not yet at least, in this mastery, the Earth Mastery, and plus 1 to all skills in Earth Mastery. This is of course useful, because we are using skills of the Earth Mastery. The helm is the Pyromancer's Circlet. It also gives fire resistance. This one gives more fire damage and burn damage. It gives intelligence points, energy regeneration, and plus 2 to the skill Volatility. I think I pronounced it correctly. This is the skill. We are not using this skill yet, but we are going to max out the skill in the future. So this one will be helpful for the first stages of the epic difficulty. And with 2 items of this set equipped, we get plus 25% fire damage, 25% burn damage, and also 17% pierce and fire resistances. Very nice combination for the normal difficulty. Now for the rings, we use the Alki. This one is very nice because it gives more strength points and minus 20% strength requirement for all weapons. I use this one because if I take it off, check, as you can see, I cannot use the weapon and the shield. So for now at least, this is a very nice mandatory item to give me the chance to use this shield and this weapon. In the future, of course, this might get replaced along with these items. The other ring I'm using is this very powerful ring, Volcanic Band of Mastery. This is a green rare ring. This is very powerful because it gives 168 burn damage over 3 seconds, which burn damage over 3 seconds stacks with the damage of this one, which gives 54 burn damage over 3 seconds, and of course it makes our attacks, our dot damage, even more powerful. Also this one gives 32 fire damage and 65 offensive ability. I have attached a legendary Demon's Blood charm on this ring, which gives 50% vitality damage resistance, 50% stun resistance, and 13% elemental resistance. This is a very nice item, very powerful item. It requires a player level 40. So I reached level 40 before I reached Hades, so I was able to equip this item and defeat the last boss of the game. Now for the three items, let me show you first my bow. In the secondary setup of the weapon slots, we have a bow. This bow actually is a bow, a brigand's bow. This is a monthly frequent item. This bow is level 3. It requires a player level 3. But here you see that it says it requires player level 27. This is happening because I have attached the embodiment of Artemis bowstring relic on this item, and this relic requires a player level 27. So when you attach a relic or a charm on an item that this relic requires a higher level player than the item, then when you put the mouse on the item, it shows you the highest level requirement and not the lowest, which is of the item. In this case, this brigade's bow, it requires player level 3, but while I attached this relic, now the bow requires a player level 27. So this bow does not deal much damage on its own, but of course this embodiment of Artemis bowstring helps the damage of this bow. It makes this bow a bit more powerful, let's say it this way. But why the reason I'm using this bow is because I'm using this skill, the Earth Enchantment. This skill imbues the weapons and the weapons of nearby allies with the power of Rocket Flame, which means that all of our attacks, weapon attacks, get this fire buff and fire and burn damage buff from this skill. So I'm using this bow just to hit enemies from far away and to cast the dot damage to those enemies. Let me show you. Let's start with this. Now we hit the enemy. You see that the enemy dies because of the burn damage. Now this burn damage is not from the skill, but it is from this ring and this artifact. If I put off these items, let's go and see. Where are the crabs? As you can see now, there is no such thing as burn damage over time. It is only life leech. So if we put an item or a skill, let's activate the skill. Now you can see how fast it goes down. This is the damage over time effect of the burn type. So this is the reason I'm using this bow. When I go near enemies, I use this bow first to deal them some damage over time, and while they come close to me, then I'm using my primary setup of weapons. This primary setup is the shield first, the blade turn. This is an epic shield. This shield gives it a good chance of more physical resistance. It gives pierce and poison resistances, more shield block, +2 to quick recovery, and +1 to all skills in defense mastery. Of course, this shield was created for the defense mastery, which we are using in this build. And this is a very nice shield for this build, at least for the first difficulty level. And the weapon is the epic weapon Hammer of the Sun. This is a very powerful weapon. It gives 90 to 201 burn damage over 3 seconds. So it also gives plus 23% fire damage and burn damage. And also it gives fire resistance, more health points, health regeneration, and an amazing plus 10% increased experience. But the great thing about this weapon is that it grants the skill Sunlight, which is a skill which gets activated upon taking ranged damage, which means when an enemy archer hits us from far away, then he has a chance to take some sunlight out of this weapon, and this sunlight has 7-second duration, 2.5 meter radius, and it deals 240 burn damage per second. This is a very powerful skill, a very powerful item overall. This item is great for the normal difficulty, and of course for the epic difficulty also. This will be very nice. The burn damage it deals is great. So this is the build. Those are the items that we saw. The skills, few skills but good skills, they do the trick. As you can see here, I have invested many points on the intelligence because we need elemental damage with this build. This is a fire build actually. And I have put many points on the strength also because this is also a strength build, a defense mastery build. So we are going to need some more strength points because, as you saw a minute ago, if we do not have enough strength points, we cannot use great items that require strength points. Of course, we gain strength points from upgrading our defense mastery, but they are not enough. Anyway, my secondary stats, as you can see, my resistances, the fire resistance is maxed out, of course. Since we are using the earth mastery and good items, we have maxed out the fire resistance. We have maxed out poison resistance too, a very good amount of pierce resistance, a good amount of lightning resistance, and a okay amount of cold resistance. And on the secondary we have 18% bleeding resistance, 50% vitality resistance. This one comes from this charm, the legendary Demon's Blood, which gives 50% vitality damage resistance. And we have stun resistance 66%, which is very nice. We need this to get maxed out in the future. And 16% disruption resistance. So our casting speed is 151%, which is very nice, and movement speed is very nice too. We need to run fast, the fastest possible, and to cast this skill very often. And yes. So guys, this is the God of War build. Let me remind you that in the second difficulty level of the game, in the second video, which will come in 10 days, we will see the build in its whole glory. It will have equipped the items, those items I have chose to have as a standard for this build. I will show you the items in the next video. I'm not going to spoil it to you from now. And hopefully this build will become much more powerful in the future, but you never know. It might fail, but it might succeed. The good thing is, for the first difficulty level, for the first time for the last 10 years since I started playing this game, for the first time I managed to defeat the first difficulty level with total deaths 0. Yeah! It seems I had to create the God of War build in this game to be able to defeat this game without dying at all, in the first difficulty at least. So the God of War build helped me a lot to win also the achievement, to unlock the achievement, the hardcore achievement for this game, which achievement requires you to not die at the first difficulty of the game at all. It is a hardcore achievement. You know, if you die once, you lose the achievement. So thanks to this build, thanks to Aris, God of War, the true God of War, I was able to unlock that achievement. So thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button or hit nothing. And leave a comment if you have anything to ask, to suggest. If you have any ideas. Let me tell you from now that we are going to see more God builds in this game in the future. This is the first but not the last God build, the God of War. And I will see you in the next video very soon. Bye for now.